Welcome, one and all. Welcome, the Immortalites, to another meandering session. I'm going to talk a little bit of nonsense today. I'm going to be talking a little bit about our favourite topic. One knows what it is. It's bloody cryptocurrency. It's the topic of the day.
It's the topic of the day. It's the topic of the year.
Talk a little bit of that.
Dang.
A little bit about that, and a little bit about opportunities that are maybe too easy.
Too easy. I want to be talking about me dressed up in a monkey suit and a couple of other things around goal setting.
Okay.
Around goal setting. Some interesting thoughts
Alright.
that just cropped up into my mind.
Good
but,
stuff.
Let's do the me immortal moment. I'll start with mine first because I think
Okay.
we might get into yours first. But
Yeah.
my me immortal moment is one dressed in a monkey suit throwing darts would probably beat the normal one at investing. So I'll there's a couple of things that I found. I don't know if you've heard that whole discussion or story where it's in, once upon a time they got these monkeys to throw darts at a particular chart, and basically they compared that against professional investors to see how well they invested. So I went through, I kind of a bit of research. So I want to talk about that and why I definitely one in a monkey suit would beat just my normal one.
No, it's all right. So mine is beta male. This is madness. And then alpha male. Madness. This is Sparta coin. Boom, 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 boom. Chest thumping, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So I have Sparta coin.
Here we go. I've been waiting to hear about this conversation, this story for a little while.
So I've I hyped it up a little bit to you during the week.
Yep.
And
tell me all about it.
there's two stories. There's the Juan version, and then there's the reality version.
The Juan version and the reality version.
Yeah. So anytime someone lies to me or gets something wrong, I'm calling it the Juan version.
The Juan version. Okay, I like it. Yeah.
So picture this. It's a Tuesday night, chilly Tuesday night here in Brisbane. Just hanging at home with the family, and then me, my brother, and my dad have a little laugh at some of the crazy stuff that's going on nowadays, and we go on to the Wall Street Bets, one of the Wall Street Bets like YouTube channels, where it's like the best of Wall Street Bets, or the most savage of Wall Street Bets, something like that. And so we're watching all this stuff, and we're like, holy shit, this is funny as hell.
Yep.
People investing crazy amounts, putting in 20 grand, ending up with
Into
like
the meme coin,
40 million,
Yep.
losing it all, going back down, and then doubling down, getting back up to like a safe level again. And it's like, holy shit, how can you go on this?
Balls.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we finished watching this video. It's like lots of laughs. Okay, all right. Now it's like, let's just go to our normal thing. And then my brother starts receiving a couple of messages from his girlfriend.
Oh.
And he's like, oh, what's this? And then I just hear, when people are like on the phone or something, and they make like a real strange noise, or like, oh my, something like that. And sometimes it's an invitation for you to ask them what happened. But then for me, I'm usually like, if it's really important, they'll tell me.
They'll mention it.
I let it slide. Yep. And then a couple of minutes later, he's like, the next like queen of Wall Street Bets, we have her. And he's telling me about how his girlfriend, so him and his girlfriend have been like playing around with crypto.
Yes.
We've been making fun of Safe Moon, which by the way is up like 100%.
Something ridiculous, yeah.
And so they've been playing around with the cryptos, and particularly random cryptos that they find through Twitter, which are new. So that's like
like the toad
or
TikTok,
TikTok,
or something like that.
TikTok.
Yep.
That's how he found out about Safe Moon,
Moon
through TikTok, and he's made a shit ton of money from it. Anywho, she was doing this one, and it was called Governance Token. Have you heard of
Governance
this?
token? I have not.
Okay, so I tried to. He even told me like, it's not even worth Googling. Like, it's so small, it's so specific. You're probably not going to find anything. And I tried to do a little, and it's like one of those ones where it's, you can use this government token for governance token to enforce like changes in smart contracts or something like that. But essentially, it's bullshit. Like, look, if you're the developer,
if you're the creator of governance coin,
maybe I'm doing you a bit of injustice. But this is just
a
pure outside opinion. And he was telling me that, so what you do is you use like, once again, like a random cryptocurrency to buy these governance tokens, and then you can switch these governance tokens for this other sort of token that you can get back, and then you can switch that again. It's like this chain of events that you can use.
Yep.
Now this thing was like fresh off the gate, and he was receiving messages from her like, I'm doing this right now.
Yep.
And what he was telling me was that she essentially found an infinite money pool, which was should have like, I don't know what this transitional coin is, which is maybe like more steady, more stable.
Sure, yep.
Should use that to buy 70,000 governance tokens at a price of 1,000. And then on this liquidity pool exchange thing, she could change that immediately for 2,000. And he was saying,
what?
Holy shit, like, why don't you just keep doing that?
Keep doing it.
And he was saying that she did that and then did it again. So she started off with 1,000, ended up with 4,000.
Yeah.
The infinite money pool, the holy grail, what every investor wishes. So apparently this was active for like 10 minutes and then went away. Now, I was like, damn, infinite money pool. That sounds pretty good to me.
Sounds like the right investment.
Now,
damn.
I asked him a couple of days later and he's like, oh, okay, no. In the heat of the moment, I got some things wrong. So that was the one version of the story.
Oh, right.
Which was what I was originally planning to base this
in the moment, straight emotion.
Yeah.
There was like, we returned $1,000 to $4,000, free money. Easy, infinite.
Easy.
What's the catch?
The catch, though, was that's actually what it wasn't. And it was essentially... just because she was super early in it, she bought these government tokens, like she was one of probably the very first buyers of it.
Yeah.
And then it jumped up as more people were initially getting in, all trying to get into this.
So it was just going up in value.
The value just went up because there was a lot of demand
really
early.
There's no infinite pool?
There was no infinite money pool. There was no
Damn.
infinite money pool. But it did get me thinking of... just how ridiculous this whole thing is getting, and especially like the cryptos. And essentially what I learned from that was there is money to be made if you're in extremely early and lucky,
brutally early,
brutally early and brutally lucky. You have to have both of those things. And so she managed to cash out. She did quadruple her money within like 10 minutes.
Good.
Luckily.
Yeah.
So, but it ever got me thinking. An opportunity that's just too easy to pass up. She had it like, if there was the infinite money pool, that is just too easy to pass up.
Too easy.
Like, even if you do it just once, and you're like, holy shit, I just got $2,000. Maybe I should just do the infinite money pool again and just try and quadruple it.
Give it again, Go again, see what happens.
So have you ever had any instances in your life, doesn't need to be related to money, where it's just been an opportunity that's like too good to pass up? It's too easy. Taking candy from a baby.
Yeah. I thought about this, and I didn't actually think that there was anything in my life where it was too easy. Where it was like,
struggled
oh man,
as well.
Like there must be something like this. I started thinking more on the theoretical, just like as any sort of mere mortal, what would they be like? I'm thinking if you were 6'5" and above, it would be too easy to not get into something like basketball. Like it's too easy at that point. You have to use that. So I kind of thought, do I have something similar in either the way that I've got my body shape for something or natural talent? And I don't think I do. Okay. I don't think there was anything that was too easy. So I almost thought, no, there isn't anything in my life that I could say oh no, this is too easy.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Okay. All right.
Did you manage to think of something?
I had a good long think about this because it's very, very similar. I wouldn't say there's ever been a time where I've had an infinite money pool or something that's just so like that, where I've thought I can't lose. Like this is too easy. This is no matter what happens, I'm going to win. But I dragged out a couple. So there's one I've told you about this. I'm not sure if I repeat it on here. Where I got a free deep tissue massage for like an hour and a half from this random girl in Mexico on the top of a hostel.
Yep.
And I'd been thinking for ages, like, I want to try out one of these things. Got randomly talking to her, and because I was doing some exercise, doing some yoga at the top, and she just randomly was like, oh yeah, by the way, if you want one, just let me know.
Yeah.
And
free 1 hour massage. Yeah.
And this has just been going through my mind, and I was like, is there a catch here? I mean, she wasn't the most attractive of girls. Is this going to be like her leading to expectations of what's going to come next?
Yeah.
But I thought, maybe this is too easy. But I went for it anyway, and it all worked out well. I got a really nice deep tissue massage.
Kind of like you could not go wrong in that point. Like nothing that could occur. Yeah. Maybe she tried to kill you or something. Maybe that would be an issue. But it didn't seem like that was going to be the obvious thing to happen.
Yeah. So that was one. Another one I've got right here.
What have you got? Show me.
My laptop case. This random laptop case. This is, and you'll notice it's broken because one of the zips just here doesn't work.
Nice.
Now, how did I come across this? Well, I had just bought the laptop that I bought for the purpose of podcasting.
Yes.
So a much more like a gaming laptop, capable of handling all our mere mortal gloriness.
the amount of content that we put out.
Silky voices, our sultry looks, our everything, the colors, the vibrancy.
Yeah.
And I needed a new laptop case, and I was just walking with my mom out of our street and around, and there on the fucking ground was this broken laptop case, and I looked at it suspiciously because it was like...
That someone dropped his here knowing that I bought a laptop.
Yeah, yeah. Just went... I only bought this laptop a couple of days ago. This seems weird. Why would this case be here? I feel like I'm stealing. But it was just a random broken case on the ground. So I grabbed it. It was meant to be. I think it was meant to be, man. So that was one. And the last one I think that is really a little bit too good to be true was in university. Did my first year of uni. I personally thought I struggled a bit, especially in the first semester of first year uni. I didn't have my sleeping patterns right. A couple of courses were harder than I expected.
Yes, okay.
But anyway, out of the first year, I had a GPA of average of 6 from the first year. Pretty good, but not like 7s. Like not amazing.
Not amazing, yeah.
And I just joined mining engineering, so one of the things was like, oh, by the way, there's engineering scholarships. You should apply for them. So I was like, what the hell?
Couldn't hurt.
Do it. And because engineering, in particular mining engineering, was sought after, this was 2011. So this was pretty much peak mining boom, I would say. They just had money to spend.
Oh, they're like, throw it at everyone.
Yeah. So I went to a couple. Was very nervous, man. This was Kyron in peak nervous, peak anxiousness.
Kyron, peak nervous mode.
He was. I didn't think I did well. Yeah. Like I barely dressed up for the interview. There was a guy there in a full suit. He's like, "Oh, you're not dressing up in like a full suit for I don't know. It was like Macquarie and Sons or some shit. It wasn't just mining companies. There was others, but they were all sort of like in the same interview.
Gotcha.
And so that was me in like chinos and.
That's what I would have worn.
Yeah, I don't think I even... I had a button-up shirt, but I don't even think I had the sleeves down. I think I had them rolled up. Just see my guns.
Casual.
And it was just so strange. Like, I went in there, thought I did terribly, went home, and then I got 2 offers. And I was like, holy shit.
Nice.
Wasn't expecting that. One was for, I think it was MacArthur Coal or something like that. And then the other was Rio Tinto.
Yep.
And the Rio Tinto one... Well, obviously Rio Tinto is a bigger company, and it's not just related to coal. So I would have chosen them, but they offered way less money, 1,500 less, to be honest, to be exact. Which is
you could almost get yourself back in the day too many bitcoins.
Yeah. Oh god, don't get me started. And I think I probably would have, if I was smart, would have gone. Oh, this other scholarship offered me 10 grand. Yeah. I'm going to take them. And in any case, unless you're willing to up your offer.
Yeah.
That's what like a smart person would have done.
You just took it straight up.
I was too scared.
Yeah.
But too easy, like an opportunity too good to resist by just waiting on accepting either of them for like
Rio
a couple of days.
Rio came back with it.
Rio just somehow heard I'd got the offered the other one and bumped it up. And so
incredible.
There's me making money just by not doing anything. So that's probably like one of the only times in my life where, yes, negotiations worked well for me in the fact that I didn't negotiate at all.
Damn. So, actually, you do remind me of one that I do have off the top of my head now, which is again back to uni. And I believe it wasn't last year. I think it might have been third year university. And I was sitting there with my mate looking at each other because we were in the final exam of that particular semester. And we thought, this is going to be... I think we're coming into it with... We needed something like 10% of a 30% final exam to get 7s.
Yeah.
And we were on this like streak of 7s basically. And we were like, we know this would be a hard exam. People have said this in the past. We went into it, and I shit you not, it was a 1.5 hour exam, and I finished it in 10 minutes. And I looked over at him because he finished like at 15 minutes something. I looked over him, and we just knew, like, we just aced that.
Yeah.
And we were like, this is so good to be true. Like, I couldn't even believe how easy the exam was. It was ridiculous. And I was like, I remember in the exam, like, looking over him, I was like dancing. I was like, oh no, this must be in the final year exam. This must have been the final exam ever in university of civil and structural engineering. And I was just like dancing because how easy it was.
Nice.
And I was like, man, absolutely decimated it.
That's
it. Look, talking back on the one in a monkey suit. So I dug this up. I'll make sure I got this right. I think it's 1988 is when they did this study. Yeah, 1988. So I don't know if you have actually ever heard the proper stats, but the Wall Street Journal was like, okay, we've heard this before then, like this back in the 60s. And they went, okay.
So this was just, I guess, the conception that a lot of investing decisions was essentially random.
Which, if you're looking at the crypto world right now, you could probably say like, oh, goddamn, there's some random luck that you need to be having here. Even though some of it maybe you know about it coming up, but man, some of it's just random shit.
And then, just because something makes sense and probably does have value, doesn't mean that's actually reflected in the price itself, in the actual price.
Or the market. But anyway, so in essence, they were like, okay, we'll get some gorillas, we'll throw darts or monkeys or whatever it was. We'll throw darts into like the share market sort of wall, and we'll just invest in that. Now, they looked at it after like 20 years.
Got gorillas.
They actually got gorillas or monkeys to throw darts at a thing, and they're like, okay, cool, we're gonna put investment money on that. And after, I think it was 20 years, and then they stopped. I don't know if they continued it anymore. But basically, the Dow Jones, so this is obviously in the States, the Dow Jones returned 10.1% or 10.7%. Professional investors, 6.8%. The monkeys, 4.8%. So, but they said it was your regular average Joe, 4.2. So it was like you're almost, unless you're like a professional, and even then it was like not much of a marginal difference. You're better off just being a monkey and just throwing your darts everywhere and just picking whatever the hell comes up in random luck and going through. I almost feel like with cryptocurrency, it's basically that, especially with all the alternative new stuff coming out. Your best bet is just be like, hell, put $1 in everything and just see what happens, as opposed to putting maybe your money where you think it's going to go well. Or, throw darts. I think, and I've been talking to you about my stock fund in the last couple of weeks. So I think if I just put on my gorilla suit back in a year ago, just throwing some darts, being like, I'm going to put it on that money, I just left it there, I would have worked out better than everything that I've done so far. So just amaze me.
There's a difference. So there's a couple of things from that. One is you'd maybe get from those stats thinking, oh, maybe I should invest with professional investors because they're at 6.8%. Problem is they take your money. They take their commission. So even if you do that, you're probably going right back to that 4%.
Well, when people like think about professional broker and they're like, oh, but they achieve this much. But then you actually convert the fact that they take 1% or 1.5% out of your earnings. That's a massive amount over the time. And so, sure, it might look like 6.8%, but what you get net returns actually much, much less than what you started off, which then obviously conflicts with your compounding like amount of money that you can take over that time. Because 1% over that whole time is humongous.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, talking on the crypto, I just want to make sure I don't forget to talk about this. So the fact I think that crypto is so socially determined, like it's not even anymore about like real market. It's not like the market's deciding what this is, or maybe other words, the market here is not like true financial acumen. It's whatever the hell people think about it. That's what it is, and that's what normal share market is. But it is, I guess, more intertwined with actual financial revenues and profits. Whereas with cryptocurrency, it's like just whatever the hell people think about it, that's what the price is going to become. And so Elon Musk just recently went on to Saturday Night Live today, like literally today, a couple of hours ago. And in preparation for him going into it, everyone was thinking he's going to promote Dogecoin. He's going to pump up Dogecoin. Dogecoin was 3 cents shy in Australian dollars to $1. It was 3 cents shy. So it was like pumping up until a couple of hours before some person started putting up like big hedge funds. We're shorting Dogecoin. We don't think it's going to go down. What happened? Down 25% in 3 minutes. Literally, as the show started airing, it was just like, boop, and if you look at the graph, just straight down. But the equivalent in the other parabolic, Ethereum was 2,000. Sorry, I had a mate at work who bought Ethereum at $2,000, and he bought it again at $2,300, and it like weaved in and out. Do you know what he hit today? Over $5,000.
Yeah.
It literally just went like, boop, or straight up. But one of the other ones that I never really knew about until I started looking into it more was gas fees and the fees of actually doing the exchanges of money. So here's the other craziness. There was basically like a competitor to Dogecoin that started coming out. There's a few, but this one's a little bit more prominent. It's called like Shiboshi coin, and it's just got a different type of dog on the coin, right? Okay. And it went massively up. But the cost of exchanging the token back to another coin, or the cost of selling it, outgrew the growth of the coin. So it went from like, you could change it for whatever money, But like I was just really recently seeing it. So I was like, oh, I try to like exchange the coin to get my profits, but now the cost of changing it was $200. So it's like, well, I'm going to lose money just even from this growth that I've just had on this coin. I'm like, oh man,
Jesus,
shit just sounds so ridiculous. Not infinity pool level,
yeah,
not infinity money, but I was like, man, this is. My advice, seriously, if you want to get into crypto and you don't care about losing money, I would say pull every like upcoming ICO in the next month, close your eyes, put on a monkey suit, and just throw some darts at the wall and be like, pick those, put your money in. Like, you're going to do better than freaking doing anything else.
Yeah. So ICO is an initial coin offering.
Yeah. Genuinely.
Yeah. There's a lot of crazy stuff out there, man. Getting onto the monkeys though, this isn't just a one-off thing as well. No. It's not like, oh yeah, that's a funny story, but XXX professional investors actually do better. No, man, this is across everything. There's so many bets that have been done where a guy's been like, I bet you you can have your hedge fund, you can spend all the time you want, I'll chuck $1 million up. You outperform me over the next year or 10 years.
Yeah,
I'll give you $1 million or you give me $1 million. Always the dude. It's the one who's like, yeah, just trust the market. The market will
let it do what it wants. Yep.
It even works with not just the general market, but say like the price of commodities, for example. There's been bets where people are like, the price of commodities is just gonna skyrocket over the next couple of years, and one guy's like, no, I bet you like every single one of these commodities basically will go down, and it was like steel, wheat, all this sort of stuff, and it's just like, holy shit, man. You think you're doing good, but no. It's such a weird thing, because you'd think, I'm putting energy and investing time to learn this stuff, but it's one of those ones where it's like, no, the more you learn, actually, probably like the worse.
Oh well, there's another
because you get more confidence.
Yeah. Well, I
know about this.
It's and you say the confidence. It's that difference between, so if you get professional horse bettors or investors, whatever you want to call it. And so basically, they gave them three, like, I can't remember the exact data piece. They're like, okay, we're going to give you 3 sets of data on all these horses, and to see how well you do. Cool. And they give them 4 sets of data, 5 sets of data. So the more sets of data that they got, the more confident they grew about their choices. But in return, they actually lost or didn't achieve as many wins as they did when they had the least amount of data. And it was just basically because when you've got the least amount of data, your confidence personally doesn't feel as high. So you're a little bit more maybe risk averse, and you choose to go a little bit broader, the more secure ways. But then when you got given like 14 pieces of data, you felt really confident. You went, oh, well, definitely this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And then, the random world that we live in just shits on you and says, no. So you actually end up losing more. So I think the variable that went was the difference between your confidence ratio and your actual winning percentage decreases the more information you get. And that's why I think with some of the crypto, it's almost like you could research like to your heart's content, but I swear you could just like, throw shit at the wall and you'll do a better job than not doing that. But even beyond that, I probably would have said, like, if you had decided at any point in the last year to throw money into crypto, that would have been enough. Like, just throw it into anything and you would have been fine.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's so weird because, there are trends and stuff, and we're not saying all trying to better yourself and trying to create more knowledge is useless. No, obviously there's industries which are on a downwards trend, and it's probably on the long term bad to invest in them. There's others, you could very well have said crypto from 2011 onward. I mean, even now to a certain extent, you could say they're probably going to be bigger in the future. Like, I definitely imagine cryptos will be more valuable in the future. So therefore it would make sense to invest right now. But then also, having a little bit of knowledge about bubbles makes you say, I think this might be a bit of a bubble right now. I think if you're getting infinite money pools or things that are semi-close to that.
Or you get things that are quadrupling or going by 10 in 10 seconds.
Interesting. That causes some questions.
Doesn't bode well.
And it makes you think about money, right? Like, I just made quadruple in a minute. Like, where did that come from? What is that exactly? Like, money is, there's some serious, weird questions to be answered about what money actually is and how people view money, because it's getting into like crazy territory. Yeah, well, here's a little bit out of the money territory in the crypto discussions. Just another one that I wanted to talk about was goal setting as well. So this comes again to like the viewing, viewing and thinking of how people, because I for some reason just randomly in my mind came across like, oh, how do people goal set?
100 years ago, right? And I was like, oh, well, how do people goal set like 4,000 years ago, 10,000 years? Like, that exists? Yeah. And I was kind of thinking in the way of, right now, I think most humans are good with looking into the future, into the past, everything like that. But back in the day, maybe 10,000 years ago, I feel like you couldn't do that. Like, looking 5 years ahead and 5 years behind might have been like, well, that's too far an extent. Now I've got to focus on like the next week and just staying alive, or just the next day and staying alive, right? So as far back as I could find, the first place I could sort of nut out, okay, where the first like thoughts of goal setting came from was from the Babylonians, like from 4,000 years ago. And it was more around the sense of they would not set goals, but it set like expectations or purposes towards the gods, and say like, oh, I'm going to achieve this during the New Year. New Year for them was like in March. So they would be like, oh, I'm going to set this expectation for you, God, and I'm going to continue this. So it was just interesting to me. I was like, oh, I feel like, back in the day, people had to like put some other, like place the expectation on somebody else because they couldn't see themselves like looking that far ahead. Now I was like, okay, so we are where we are today. I wonder if, 5,000 years into the future, there'll be people setting themselves goals for like 100 years.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, oh, I want to know what's going to happen in like when I'm 102 years old. Yeah, I'm planning for that. I'm already knowing what's going to go down.
Yeah.
And whether it'll change the mindset of whether it's investment, whether it's thinking about the planet, whether it's interplanetary thoughts, and whether we just extend that sort of predominant thinking even further.
Yeah. I mean, goal setting is a bit of a weird one because it's different from predictions, and it's different because goal setting's not so. It doesn't have that that case of things can go wrong. It's sort of like you setting your intention and going towards it, but it's not like predicting where it's saying like, man, I hope this happens.
Yeah, I think. It was more specifically for those Babylonians was promises that they made. So there was promises that they made to the gods. Yeah. And so from then, that's sort of when they can see like, okay, that seems like the first sort of goals, like New Year goals, theoretically.
Yeah, which is essentially what we're doing. Like I'm writing something down. That's almost a promise.
Well, it's a promise to your future, for your future self.
Yeah.
But there's this other inverse out I see, right? It's like I reckon we're trending towards making goals or promises to ourselves that are further reaching into the future in time frame, but then we expect returns quicker. Like we expect the gratification of whatever we're doing at a quicker pace, but we almost seem to be on the opposite end, being fine to plan for much further afield. So I'm like, cool, I wonder if that extreme will just keep on going. Like you'll expect in the future, like 100 years from now or 1,000 years, you'll expect that, oh no, you have to be rich like today, but I've got to plan for 200 years in the future for my third generation down the track.
Yeah, like you use your Whoop watch and it's showing your actual, you increase your muscle density last night by...
Yeah, exactly. 0.002%. And kind of like that Dogecoin, whatever level is kind of, you've seen those like very minute levels. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, I've increased it by like 0.003%. Yes, I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Where it's like, today you wouldn't think about doing that. Like, it's just like, oh, well, who cares? Like, you just measure that on a monthly basis.
One thing I'd love to do, which is just related to what you're talking about, sacrificing, and they would... Back in the ancient days, so I'm reading the Aeneid. I think that's how you say it, the Aeneid by Virgil at the moment, which is talking about Aeneas and his travels to Italy and the sort of like founding of Rome, I guess.
Okay.
And they're doing plenty of sacrifices, and I'd love to go back in time and ask one of the people sacrificing, a goat to Juno or Zeus or whatever, and ask them, okay, how much of this is just you hoping, and then how much is it of you taking steps from here to make that happen as well? I'd love to know in their minds what that balance was between just, praying to God essentially that something would happen versus, because they would absolutely acknowledge as well, like, if I'm going to fight this battle, I can't just, pray to Zeus, wash my hands
sit down,
and then sit down and then have tea time at 3:00 and the enemy would be struck down.
Yeah.
No, there's got to be a bit of fighting going on. So I'd love to explore their psychology of how of that whole sacrifice and what that did for them. That'd be fascinating.
Interestingly, who was that? Naval Ravikant, where he says like we pretty much come from a lineage of pessimists. Because most of the optimists back in the day, all the way 20,000 years ago, they were the ones who were like, oh yeah, I can fight this tiger or lion, and they all died. So
yeah, I'm not so sure about that. When people talk about evolutionary terms of changing of small things like that. Like, oh yeah, I could fight the lion. That dude. I just don't imagine there was really a guy out there who thought I can actually fight this lion. There's maybe guys who would have, like, I would say that that same dude who did eventually fight a lion would have more like a different risk profile, for example. So I would say it's not really optimist or pessimist. It'd be more.
It's like, oh, I think I can do this and take it on.
Yeah, how much risk can I handle versus, you know, how much fear I can handle, that sort of stuff. When I hear that one, and a couple of things like that, same with, like, you know, it's the guy who we came from people who would get scared of everything, and because that would save our lives. But then I'm like, okay, but if you're scared of everything, you know, there's no evolutionary disadvantage to getting scared by the clump of grass that looks like a lion. But then I'm like, yeah, but if you're in a group and you're scared all the time, the people won't want you in your group. So they kick your ass out and then you starve to death. So there's a couple of things like that which people just rifle off. And I'm like, where's that come from? Are you actually sure about that? Where'd you get? Is this fucking one bullshit right now? Is this just, oh yeah, this sounds right. All right, I'll say that, and then you know, it gets repeated. So I think 90% of what we say is absolute horseshit.
90%.
Now that I'm thinking about it, now that I'm truly examining how much I say, and more when I'm saying, like, you know, even the monkey study and things like that.
Yep.
I have that stuff in my head. I don't know where that came from.
How precise it'd be?
Yeah, well, how much would I be willing to bet that is true knowledge in the sense that, and, you know, true 90% of it's true? Damn, dude, I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, and then it gets into the whole, you know, sure, even if you've read it, like, and you've just talked about it verbatim, it's kind of like, well, there's sometimes, you know, 2, 3, 17 sides of the story as well. How much of it is right of what's put down versus what, you know, in actual fact happens. So it's like,
prime example, I read Sperm Wars, which was talking about all these different sperms. There's kamikaze sperms, there's like these blocker worm sperms, there's these like needle pointed, like direct to the egg sperms, like all this crazy shit. And no, that's just, it wasn't correct. And I said that to probably a bunch of people. So God knows how many people.
Like, damn, I've got needle sperm.
Yeah. Shoot it out. It's like a nail gun.
Dang.
All right, you got anything more?
Nah, nothing from me.
Okay, thank you, mere mortals, for joining us for this Meandering Sessions. I hope you weren't distracted by the ibises, the bin chickens in the background. I know I was a little bit.
Bin chickens.
But what are your thoughts on cryptos? What are your thoughts on, what did you talk about? Goal setting in the past, sacrificing, all those sorts of things. We'd love to know what you think. And yeah, I don't think there's anything much else to say apart from do all the good stuff. Give us a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notifications. All that is great. Or if you're listening via audio, follow us, leave us a review. One.
Always appreciated, folks. That's all. One out.
Current out. Hey. Huzzah.